Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. Today, we're focusing squarely on Rassie Erasmus's Springboks. They've just clinched back-to-back Rugby Championship titles, which is impressive enough. But our mission today is to really dive into the strategy behind that success. What makes them seem, well, light years ahead?
And that's before we jump in. If you want more of this kind of in-depth rugby analysis, make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession today.
Definitely. We've been digging into some really insightful stuff from Ben Youngs and Dan Cole, the retired England legends on their latest For the Love of Rugby chat. And they basically lay out this blueprint for strategic depth that, frankly, other nations, especially up north, are probably looking at with quite a bit of envy.
Yeah, serious professional envy, I'd say. The core of it, the thing they kept coming back to was this one, well, scary fact, as they put it. It's what really positions the Boks as number one as we look towards, the 2027 World Cup. And it's not just about having a brilliant starting 15. It's about this almost frightening ability they have to build and, crucially, use a massive playing group.
Okay, right. Let's unpack that then. This scary fact. When Youngs and Cole looked at the Boks' recent Rugby Championship win, what was the number, the stat, that really made them stop and think?
It was the sheer scale, the volume of players.
Yeah.
Across just 6 matches in that campaign, the Springboks used, wait for it, 47 different players.
Right.
47. And Youngs was really clear. He said you'd never see a team do that in the Six Nations ever. It just wouldn't happen.
Hold on, 47 players in 6 tests. That's barely a team playing matches. It sounds more like a national development program running live R&D, doesn't it? And the truly incredible part is that all this chopping and changing, this rotation, it didn't seem to hurt their results at all.
Exactly. That's the crux of it. They stay number one in the world while they're doing all this experimentation. And this run included that absolutely stunning 43-pen win against the All Blacks in Wellington, a record demolition. So you can see why Youngs reckons picking their final 33-man squad for 2027 right now would be really, really difficult. They've just created this abundance of quality options.
And Dan Cole brought up a really interesting comparison, didn't he? He mentioned the last really dominant side, that All Blacks team from, 2011 to 2015. He said that Kiwi team was very settled. Their focus was purely winning every game with their best guys.
Yeah, but the Springboks, Cole pointed out, seem unique because they've somehow managed to set out to build depth and win every game, both at the same time.
Which suggests a different level of strategic thinking, maybe even dominance.
I think so.
Yeah.
Cole basically suggested that if Rassie wanted, he probably could just pick a core group, roll them out week after week, and be just as settled and dominant as those All Blacks were. But they're actively choosing not to. They're prioritizing the future, building that massive base while still winning today. It's quite something.
It is. So 47 players is a staggering number. But where is this depth most obvious? Where are they actually using all these options? Let's maybe get into the specifics, starting with the halfbacks. That's always critical.
Oh, absolutely. And what they're doing there is, well, it's a bit of a masterclass in managing that transition between generations. You see this blend of youth and serious experience. Like, take Cobus Reinach, 35 years old, double World Cup winner. They're deliberately pairing him up with younger number 10s, maybe someone like Sacha Feinberg Mungabizulu, who's really promising. The idea being Reinach can help him, guide him through the game.
Yeah.
So the young guy gets valuable game time, but he's got that experienced head right there alongside him.
And that must give them incredible flexibility at 9 and 10. Cole talked about this, didn't he? Having the established guys like Reinach, Pollard, Faf de Klerk.
Yeah, for that more, traditional territory-focused game.
Yeah.
Control the pace, kick your points.
But then on the flip side, they can bring in the younger guys, the Sachas or someone like Grant Williams, who Youngs mentioned.
Right, and suddenly they can play that up-tempo, speedy kind of way. They can shift gears completely depending on the opponent or the game situation.
You mentioned Grant Williams. Youngs seemed really impressed by him, called him terrific, electric, threatening. Sounds like the future for 2027, maybe.
Probably. But the genius part, according to Cole and Youngs, is how they're managing it. The older guys, the established stars, they aren't just being pushed aside. They're actively involved in bringing the new guys through. It's about passing on that knowledge, that winning culture, making sure it's an evolution, not a clean break.
And it's not just the backs getting this treatment, is it? You said the forward pack is the foundation, and Cole and Youngs really honed in on the versatility there, too. What about the engine room?
Yeah, the forwards are absolutely key to why this whole strategy works. That's where their performance floor is set so high. Look at someone like Thomas Du Toit, a proc who can play both sides, loose head and tight head. Just having that one player gives you huge flexibility on your bench. It covers potential injuries in two positions with one guy. That's proper tactical depth, not just having lots of names on a list.
And the midfield, that seemed to blow Cole away.
Yeah. He reckoned they've got maybe 4 or 5 guys who would start for pretty much every other team in the world. Think about that. They're rotating guys with serious test experience through those crucial 12 and 13 shirts. So come World Cup time, whoever steps in is ready. They've been there before.
So the end result of all this depth is what? Tactical freedom.
Essentially, yes. It gives them options.
Yeah.
Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. They're all built on that solid forward platform. They can choose to play tight, control the ball. They can choose to play wide and fast. If they're behind, they can bring on players to chase the game. If they're ahead, they can bring on guys to close it out. They've got the personnel on the bench to completely change their approach mid-game, if needed.
It's fascinating. We'd genuinely love to hear what you listening think about this Springbok rotation. Is it something other teams could realistically copy? Or is it unique to South Africa's system and strengths? Let us know your thoughts. And hey, if you're enjoying this sort of deep dive into rugby strategy, please do remember to subscribe to Rugby Obsession so you don't miss out. Okay, so that brings us to the big question, the one Young's actually posed. If this depth-building strategy is so effective, maybe even the key to being number one, why aren't the Northern Hemisphere teams, England, Ireland, France, doing it to the same extent?
Well, Cole had a pretty direct answer. It basically boils down to 2 things: job security and how much risk the whole system can tolerate. He argued Rassie Erasmus has earned that right to experiment. He's won 2 World Cups back-to-back.
Yeah.
So there's effectively no pressure on his job. If they try something out and lose a game, maybe that early loss to Australia in the championship, the board, the fans, they kind of trust the process. There's tolerance for that blip.
Right, so that trust completely changes the risk versus reward calculation. South Africa can afford to rotate heavily, even against good teams like Australia or Argentina, because their base level, their floor, is so high.
Exactly. That dominant scrum, the powerful maul it means, even with 6 or 7 changes, they're unlikely to just completely fall apart. They'll still be competitive.
In the Six Nations, it's different.
Very different, according to Cole. If England or, say, Scotland decide to rotate heavily against France or Ireland, top-tier opponents, the potential performance floor becomes a lot lower. Suddenly you're risking not just a loss, but maybe a heavy loss. And in the Six Nations, with only 5 games, a bad loss can completely derail your campaign, kill the momentum, and the media pressure ramps up instantly. Sacrificing a potential win for development is a much bigger gamble up north.
And that links into what Cole said about fan tolerance, doesn't it? He was quite blunt about England fans.
He was. He basically said, English supporters just aren't that tolerant of big losses, even if the coach says it's for development. You can't really get away with losing by, say, 40 points in an autumn international and explain it away by saying you played a load of 12-year-olds, as he put it. That kind of result just isn't seen as acceptable, whatever the long-term plan might be.
So there's a real danger in getting the balance wrong.
A huge danger. Both Youngs and Cole brought up Wales as a sort of cautionary tale, perhaps getting rid of too much experience too quickly. The risk there is that the promising young players coming through end up getting scarred from losing so many games. Their development stalls because they're constantly in a losing environment.
Which leads to that idea of evolution rather than a revolution. That seems to be the key takeaway for development.
Precisely. You need to drip feed the new talent in. Let the youngsters gain experience gradually while they are still part of a winning team soaking up that winning culture. That's why keeping someone like the 35-year-old Reinach around alongside the young guys is so smart. It's about managing the psychology just as much as the tactics.
It really is an incredible balancing act, isn't it? Trying to win right now while also building guarantees for the future.
It's the ultimate challenge in elite sport, really. And somehow the Springboks, at the moment anyway, seem to have found a way to make that tightrope look more like a comfortable sidewalk.
So thinking ahead, Cole made that point. The Bucks could just stick with a settled team like the 2011-15 All Blacks and probably be just as dominant. But we've learned today they deliberately choose not to. They choose the 47-player rotation route instead. What impact do you think this incredibly deliberate, strategic building of depth will have come 2027? Does it just make them almost unbeatable when they finally do have to narrow it down to 33? That's definitely something to ponder over the next few years.
Absolutely. And for more insights like this and all the breaking news from the rugby world, make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession today.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. We will look forward to you listening to our next episode.